Hello, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Cassidy. If it's not, thanks for always tuning into my videos. Today's video is about my Apollycon TBR. There is this romance event hosted by Jennifer L. Armentrout, who is the author of the From Blood and Ash series. Me and a couple friends are trying to get tickets. Tickets go on sale tomorrow as I'm filming this, so at this point I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, that we got tickets. But even if I didn't get tickets, this TBR still stands. It's still something I'm excited for. I want to read all these books. Regardless of whether I actually go, these are authors I still want to try and read from, but like, if I have tickets, there's like a deadline to when I want to try them. I hope that makes sense. So I'll let you know down below in the comments whether I got tickets or not, because I think this video goes live on Saturday and we buy tickets on Friday. Anyways, this is a video where I'm going to talk about all the authors I want to try, the books I want to read before Apollycon in April 2024. There's a lot of them. This is delusional. I don't think I'll be able to read this many books, but here I am. All of this is fantasy romance. You can call it a fantasy romance TBR if you want, and I'm really excited. There are a lot of authors going that I'm excited for. There are 5 that I've read from before and I'm super stoked about. Those include Jennifer L. Armentrout, who writes the From Blood and Ash series. I obviously love this series. I still need to continue on in it though. Carissa Broadbent, who writes the Crowns of Nyaxia series, which I loved earlier this year, and I still need to read the War of Lost Hearts series, but I'm part of a book club for that, so I will be reading that June, July, and August. Danielle L. Jensen, who writes the Bridge Kingdom series, which is one of my favorite fantasy romances, and the 4th book just came out, so I need to continue on in that series. Rebecca Yarros, who writes the 4th Wing series, and I loved this, and I'm so excited that she's there. The 2nd book comes out in November, so that will be on my TBR before April as well, because I need to continue on in the series. It's incredible. And the last one I'm really excited about is PC Cast and Kristen Cast, who write the House of Night series, which was one of my favorite series growing up. I think Mel and me are actually planning on doing like an impromptu read-along of this series with our Patreons, just because... why not before we go? I'm excited. I'm sure this is not good. Is there a bookmark in here? Oh my god. There's a Justin Bieber sticker in here as like a bookmark. If this was not me to a T, marked and Justin Bieber. This sticker is incredible. Oh my god. I love that. That's hilarious. I definitely want to reread this series before I go, or just like the first book in the series before I go, because I'm just excited about it and just to see what it was all about. I actually have a fanfiction that I wrote about this series on Wattpad, which is really embarrassing, but you know, I'm so excited. I will definitely bring this book to get it signed. I'm not bringing any books. I plan on buying books there if I want to get them signed because I have to fly to DC, but I will bring this one, I think. Those are the authors that I've currently read from that I'm very excited about seeing. I have actually read a decent amount of people on this list. I think I've read 10 more authors on this list, but none of those are like people that like I'm very excited about. I'm a little bit pickier with my fantasy romance. I have a huge list of people I haven't read from before, and then I have one person on this list that I have read from before that like I still want to read from. Let's start with the ones I own already, which the first one could be Blood Mercy by Vila Roth. I've been talking about this a lot. I've heard nothing but good things about this. People explain this as like an epic fantasy with a romance. Like there's the world building of epic fantasy, and it's going to be very slow, which I'm very excited about because if there's one thing about me, I love a slow burn. Love a slow burn. So this one follows our main character, Cassia, who seeks out this vampire in order to like make a bargain, I think, with them, but her dad would be very angry and probably kill her if he found out. And so we have the vampire diplomat and Cassia who are negotiating for terms to better both of their sides. It's a slow burn, steamy romance meets classic fantasy world building, following fated mates Cassia and Leah through their epic love story for a guaranteed series happily ever after. And this book is long, so I think we'll get a happily ever after, but like not in this book, which has me super excited. I think I'm a vampire girly. I just am tired of fae. Like I'm literally just tired of fae. I just think that they're now overrated. They're everywhere. They've been done. I mean, vampires were overrated, but I truly think I've always been a vampire girly. I think I'm a vampire girly over fae girly. So give me all the vampire recs. But yeah, Vila Roth will be there and I'm really excited. I need to read this soon. I think the audiobook comes out this month and I'm really excited. And then we have A Promise of Fire by Amanda Bouchette, which I think is a really big fantasy romance. I've heard it talked about quite a bit, and I think as a popular fantasy romance, I need to try it, and this is the time to do it because I plan on going to an event where the author is. Hopefully. I'm gonna be so sad if I don't get tickets, but hopefully. This follows our main character, Kat, who is a soothsayer. She has some magic, but she's happily ignoring the fact that she has magic and has kind of, her family is made with like a deal with the gods. In this world, in order to own land, you have to have magic. So we follow her, and then our male character, who is a warlord that is magic deprived, and he wants her as a powerful weapon for his newly conquered realm. So he kidnaps her and hopes that at one point she will be by his side as an equal. I don't know, this sounds good. Like, the idea of needing magic to own land, kind of fun, kind of cool. You want the magic in her. I'm excited. With a kidnapping, we know it's going to be enemies to lovers, and I love enemies to lovers. So I've heard nothing but good things about this. It's a trilogy, and then I think that there's a spin-off series as well. Look at that. Cat and Griffin. There's an illustration in it. I love the name Griffin too. Also Cat and Griffin, them both kind of being animals. I love that. Another author who is going that I would like to try is Claire Legrand. So I have 2 series I want to try from Claire Legrand. I think I will try Furyborn first just because it was written first, but this is a YA series. This follows 2 girls across time that are prophesized about, the Queen of Sun, I believe, and the Queen of Blood. One of them has to go through a bunch of trials, I believe, and the other one joins a rebel captain and discovers the evil at the Empire's heart is more terrible than she ever imagined. And I just think that it's really interesting that we're following characters across time. I've heard mixed things about this series, but it's been one I've always wanted to try, so I own book 1. I'm gonna try it. Perfect time. As well as Claire Legrand's new book, which is a new adult fantasy romance called A Crown of Ivy and Glass. In this story, we follow our main character whose family was supposedly blessed by the gods. They all have magic, but she is the only person in her family who actually doesn't have any magical abilities. Her family has been struggling within this like blood feud for a really long time and is slowly, I think, losing, where she meets a handsome man who seduced a demon and killed his family, and they make a pact because he wants to become a part of like high society. So she helps him deal with like the politics and the intrigue of court, and he helps her slay the demon, all of that good stuff. This says it is Bridgerton meets A Court of Thorns and Roses on it, and that comp just really gets me. I'm always down for a good fantasy romance comp. They have the best comps. So hopefully this lives up to it. Another one is Between Wrath and Mercy by Jess Wizacup. This is on my TBR for the month due to my friend and patron Melissa who recommended it to me. I'm excited to read this one. This follows our main character who thinks her daughter is like the prophesized child, so she's been hiding her daughter from the world. And when her daughter is kidnapped, she has to go on a quest to save her daughter, and she ends up asking for help from one of the like princes of the land who wants to help because the prophecy and all of that stuff. And I think we're gonna get a slow burn on this quest, and I'm really excited about it. I'm not a big fan of Fated Mates. I shouldn't say that. I don't mind Fated Mates, like I still like a Sarah J. Maas and stuff, but I just find there's something way more romantic about someone choosing you versus someone who was like fated to be with you. So I prefer when they're not Fated Mates. That's just me. But I'm really excited about this one, and I'm very excited because when I said I wanted to read it, I did not know the author would be at Apollycon. So this was just a bonus for me. The next author that I did not know anything about until I started going through the Apollycon lineup and just like looking and doing some research is Sarah M. Cradit, who has a bunch of books out, and her website is really good. It gives you like a place to start. If you like these kind of books, try this one first. If you like these kind of books, try this one first. So I actually have a bunch of her books that I want to read and try, so I'm hoping I really like her writing style so that I can continue into all of them. So one of the first ones that caught my eye was that she had an epic fantasy romance with lots of spice that was great for fans of Sarah J. Maas or Jennifer L. Armentrout, which are both some of my favorite fantasy romance books, and I decided I wanted to go with The Claw and the Crown, which is in a series of standalone fantasy romances, and I also like the idea of a standalone fantasy romance. And this says, freedom is her desire, vengeance is his price. Slip into the tale of a young royal whose loyalty is torn between the prince she was sold to and the tempestuous knight determined to ruin her. I think that this is going to have a love triangle. I think essentially what happens in this is that our protagonist is told her entire life that she's unfit to be a princess. Everyone knows it. So then when the king makes her the prince's consort, she's shocked. And then she struggles with whether to love the prince or, I think, her bodyguard. and I love a bodyguard romance. I think it's going to be a love triangle. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm excited. The next thing that got me was that she had epic fantasy with low spice. Great for fans of Elise Kova or Holly Black, and now I actually haven't read either of those authors. One of them is on this list. But this one got me with the Sylvan and the Sand was the one I'm interested in. This says, marry your enemy, dare to survive. I do love a arranged marriage. Disappear into this tale of mortal enemies forced into a peerless, passionate marriage. The Sylvan and the Sand is the first book in the Sutherland cycle of the Book of All Things. This follows our main character who is set on not getting married, proving to her father she's just as capable as her brothers. And then we follow our male protagonist who is suffering under his father's reign, and then they are put into an arranged marriage that they both don't want. I do think it is an enemies to lovers as well. I'm not entirely sure how, but I think that the arranged marriage is across, like, nations that don't like each other, which has me excited. Enemies to lover, arranged marriage, slow burn, hopefully. Things I'm excited for. Now she has one other book that I'm interested in, which is epic fantasy with grimdark elements. It doesn't even really say that there's fantasy romance. It says great for fans of A Song of Ice and Fire and Kingkiller Chronicles. It's called The Kingless Crown. And that just has me excited. So I'm hoping I like the fantasy romance so that I can continue into the non-fantasy romance. This says a crown woven together by lies, a kingdom with the power to unravel them. I'm already sold. I'm intrigued. I know nothing else about this, but I'm interested. The next author that will be there that I want to try from is J. Bree. Now, J. Bree has a Why Choose fantasy romance that I'm not as interested in, but they just came out with a new fantasy romance that I am interested in, which is called The Mortal Fates. I actually just saw Rachel from Raven-Haired Reader read the novellas of this book series, and I do think that somewhere it says that you have to read the novellas first, so I might try the novellas, and then that makes it easy to see if I like them enough to continue on into this series. This is a fated mates romance, and we are following our character, who is the chosen one, the witch person, and she ends up seeking out the prince/king of the realm, I think it is, who is like her mortal enemy, but because of the battle being so strong and the battle like not seeing an end at all, she seeks him out in order to help end this battle, and they have to work together even though that they're technically mortal enemies. I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued by this. I know a lot of people who like J. Bree's other series, so I think that their writing is probably really good. I just have never really been into like the Why Choose romances, so I'm excited to try this one, and then if I like this one, I think I will try the Why Choose, but like they're outside of my comfort zone, so I want to like know if I like the writing better first, if that makes sense. Then we have Harper L. Woods, which is an author that I technically have read from before, because I read What Lies Beyond the Veil for Smut Den earlier, like last month, and I enjoyed it. I gave it a low 3 stars. It was alright for me, but not like the best book ever, but I did like the world building in it. So I didn't want to continue on in that series, but they also have another series called The Coven that just came out, or the second book just came out or something, and so I'm interested in trying that one from this author to see if I like it. I think this follows our main character who has magic and is sent to a school for learning magic, which I love a school setting, so I am intrigued. But something happened at this school. There was a massacre. There's some secret the school is trying to hide, and our main character is trying to figure it out. There's also some sort of prophecy about the 13 and the Coven opening their doors to the 13 witches who are going to save the world. There's a lot going on in the synopsis, but I am intrigued to try it. Then we have An Heir Comes to Rise, which is by Chloe C. Penaranda. This is a book that I've heard about a long time ago, and actually owned the Kindle book and have owned it for a long time, and I'm not sure why I haven't quite gotten to it. I think I thought it was YA, and maybe it is, I'm not sure, but that is why I often put it off, I think, because I thought it was YA, but I'm excited for this one. It sounds really good, actually. We follow our main character who has a tendency for swordplay. She's pretty good with her sword. She likes to fight things off, but she knows where she is as a human. It is important to keep your head down when the Fae guards are around. But then she catches the attention of a guard, and this guard has the ability to walk in dreams. Soon, the guard also awakens things in our main character that should not exist in a human. I'm intrigued. I love a guard romance. In a clash of steel, a mortal body may fall, but in a clash of dreams, a powerful heir may rise. For fans of Throne of Glass and Red Queen, I definitely thought it was YA. I think it is YA, but I liked Throne of Glass. I've only read the first 2 books, and I loved Red Queen. Why haven't I tried this? I'm not sure. I'm really excited. I really want to get to this one. I'm gonna do it soon. I feel like those were all like my priority ones, and we're kind of getting into the point of these are books that I'm interested in trying, but a little bit more scared of, so I think these will be books that I try and then don't force myself to continue if I'm not liking. Like, I'm more flexible with these ones, if that makes sense, because there are a lot of them. The next one is Kingdoms of Shadow and Ash by H.R. Moore. This follows a world where the legend says that when somebody reunites the 5 kingdoms, the dragons will return. Our main character has just done that. They have reunited the 5 kingdoms, but where the heck are the dragons? They're gone. They're not around. The dragon eggs, something's not working. So she's got to figure out what the heck is going on. The dragon eggs are missing. That's what's going on. Our main character thinks that the king across the border has them, so she sets out to go find them. And the king doesn't like her, she doesn't like the king, and things happen. I'm guessing. Like, I'm just guessing things happen. This is a duology, and I'm hoping it has a lot of world building in it, and I'm just excited for this one. I mean, I like dragons. The next author I really want to try is Elise Kova, and I have obviously heard of Elise Kova. I've heard of her books. I feel like she is talked about, but I haven't really heard anyone recommend it to me personally and, like, love them, so I've always been kind of, like, putting them on the back burner. But now is the time to try them, because she will be at Apollycon. I think the one that calls to me the most is Air Awakens, which is a library apprentice, a sorcerer prince, and an unbreakable magic bond is kind of like the tagline for it. I think what happens is our library apprentice, the female protagonist, ends up saving the sorcerer prince unknowingly because she's been taught to, like, fear the sorcerers her entire life. And then she kind of finds herself enticed by his world, and she has to decide what she wants to do. And then there's, like, powerful forces lurking in the background. That'll probably make some kind of conflict for her. But there is also the Deal with the Elf King series by Elise Kova. Should I be trying this one instead of that one? Like, if anyone has read them, let me know where your best bet is to start with Elise Kova. I feel like the Deal with the Elf King might have too much sexual innuendos on paper for me. I'm just making assumptions about it. But let me know down below, like, do you think I will like A Deal with the Elf King? Let me know. Then we have Spellbound by Rebecca L. Garcia. This one kind of scares me. It is a paranormal romance, and that's not really my thing normally. This follows our main character, who is a witch. She makes it her life purpose to become a curse keeper, which is one of, like, the special witches, I think, and she ends up being one, but then her small amount of witches, the coven, only has 4 people and doesn't make a lot of magic, so they're kind of, like, not looked great upon. And when witches start to show up dead in the woods, there's some warlock that comes to town, and I don't really know a lot about this, I just know that, and I know that there's something about, like, a human realm and a god realm, and maybe a witch's realm. Not entirely sure. I'm intrigued by it, but I'm just very terrified of it, because I'm not typically a paranormal romance kind of person. I don't know. I like them set, okay, I like vampires, but I like them set in a different world, if that makes sense, and I don't think I'm a big fan of, like, witches. I don't know. I'm not sure. N.E. Davenport will also be there, who writes the Blood Trials. Now, I wouldn't have said this is a fantasy romance, but this is a book that I'm interested in and excited for, so it's on this list. I know nothing about it. I'm not giving you a synopsis. I've kind of always known nothing about it, and when I read it, because I've always wanted to read it, I think, I will go into it very blindly. Then we have Autumn's Tith by Hannah Parker, which is the Severed Realms trilogy #1. I've never heard about this before until I did the research about this coming. This has a low rating on Goodreads. It has a 3.54 out of the 1,000 ratings, so it's not the best rating, but I still want to try it. It'll be one of those books that I think I just try on KU. If I don't like it, I don't like it. Don't need to continue it. Easy DNF if I don't like it, but hopefully it'll surprise me and I'll love it. This follows our main character, who every girl in her town dreams of being chosen by the Fae. For some, it's because of the promise that the Fae delivers, like the magical realm, the magical abilities, things like that. But for our main character, it's because her best friend was chosen the year before and went to the Fae realm, and she's lonely and she misses her friend. She discovers that her friend is in danger, and she chooses to make it so that she will be chosen and she can go save them. There's something about a tithe being paid by each of the courts, or else the stability of the realms starts to fail, and that there's something about the way that she went about it. No tithe is being paid, and I think that they're just going to bring things crumbling down together, her and whoever she got help from. But I'm interested by this one. I'm intrigued. I'm happy to try things. Like, if I never tried new books that had lower ratings or not enough ratings, I would not find some of the gems that I find, and so I'm always excited to try things. The author of The Longing of Lone Wolves will also be there. This is a Fae Shifter, Wolf Shifter, Fae Guardian series that a lot of my friends love, and I honestly don't think that I will love it, but I want to try it maybe if I have time. So it's also on this list. I hate these covers though. I don't want shirtless men on my covers. Go away. I will never want to own these. No. I almost hope I don't like them because I don't want to own them. Emily McIntyre will also be there, who writes that like Hooked series. This is another series that I'm very terrified of. I do not like retellings. I do not like urban fantasy. So I'm scared of these, but I know a lot of people love them, and she's a really big author, so I might try to get to them before. As we get to the end of the list, I know less about these books because I'm less intrigued by them, and they're just kind of on my list of like if I have time to get to. There's also a book called Where Oceans Burn by Casey L. Bond. This one is interesting. It says, with these 3 virtues we shall rise, with these 3 we shall conquer: truth, honor, blood. To my people, the sky reigning Empyreans, intention day is sacred. Truth to me, it's the day my carefully crafted lie crumbles and my truth gives way to ruin. Her power is revealed and coveted by those eager to exploit her. Her choices: capture the most formidable enemy before next intention day or forfeit her wings. But then she is struck down by lightning and finds herself in the hands of her enemy, who is the ruler of like the sea. And then there's some kind of like thing that happens, enemies to lovers type situation. Again, intrigued. It seems like a interesting premise to me. A lot of fantasy romances premises can repeat now. I feel like there's like a hype train, they go and they repeat, so I'm always looking for something that sounds like cool and unique. So I'm excited by that one. This is where I'm ending it. This is my list for Apollycon of authors I need to read from to decide if I'm loving them. Obviously, I mentioned earlier the few authors that I've already read from and want to read more from, but there are definitely some people that I'm really excited about seeing here, and I'm hoping that I'll find more in this that I love and enjoy. There's some really cool premises in this. Let me know down below if there's any books that I've said today that you think I will like. I like slow burn, I like enemies to lover, and I like an arranged marriage, but I don't always like marriage in general. It's confusing, but I want banter, essentially, is really what I'm looking for in my fantasy romance. Yeah. So if you know what I like, let me know down below. I don't really like paranormal. I don't like insta-love, and I don't like smut on page really early on in the story. I want it to like build up to like a good smut scene. Anyways, there we go. That's all of my current Apollycon TBR. Fingers crossed we got tickets. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me. Is there a watermelon emoji? Either a watermelon emoji or a cherry emoji. And then if you want to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.